Very good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television, your one-stop morning show for top stories from India and across the globe. I'm Aishwarya and these are the headlines. India will exercise all options to win decisive battle against Pakistan. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley's a strong message to Islamabad after the Pulwama attack. Calls Pakistan a rogue state, says India is extremely angry over terror. "150 days of Ayushman Bharat PMJAY, 2 crore beneficiary e-cards issued. Over 12 lakh people availed free treatment. 15,000 hospitals have been so far been empaneled. Death toll in Assam's huge tragedy touches 34, 50 hospitalized. 2 people arrested in connection with the deaths in Assam's Golaghat district. 2 people suspended in Uttarakhand bill passed to check illicit liquor trade. Aero India 2019 in Bengaluru to showcase women's achievements in aerospace sector. Women achievers to be felicitated, all women crew to fly Dornier and Avro aircraft. And IISF World Cup 2019 kicks off in New Delhi. 35 Indian among 500 shooters from 16 nations to compete for 14 Olympic quotas. The top story this morning, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that India will exercise all options, diplomatic or otherwise, to win a decisive battle against Pakistan, which is responsible for the Pulwama terror attack. Describing Pakistan as a rogue state, he said it is not acting against perpetrators of the attack, though the guilty have themselves been admitted really to the attack and were taking credit for it. Referring to Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's speech, Arun Jaitley said that the head of the government says, give me actionable intelligence. You need an actionable intelligence if it is a blind offence. While speaking at the Global Business Summit in New Delhi, he said that this is not a one-week battle. It should be undertaken in various forms. India today is extremely angry, he said, adding that in my lifetime we have seen wars, human tragedies, but the one this time is unprecedented. As many as 40 CRPF personnel were martyred in the terrorist attack on 14th of February in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir.
India today is extremely angry. And I can tell you in my lifetime we've seen wars, we've seen human tragedies, we've seen our prime ministers being assassinated by terrorists. But the kind of anger which has been there, even on previous occasions, the one this time is unprecedented. There's a huge gap between the strength of the two countries. And Pakistan doesn't learn. And therefore, without getting into the details, I think, as the Prime Minister has said, India will exercise all instruments at its command.
And after reports of attacks on Kashmiris across the country, the centre on Friday asked all the states to ensure their security. In fact, the Ministry of Home Affairs issued an advisory to all the states following a directive of the Supreme Court, which took up a petition in this regard. The Home Ministry also said that the central government is concerned at the reports of incidents of assaults and harassment against the residents of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the students in some parts of the country. Now, the issue was also raised before the Supreme Court, which directed that the nodal officers appointed by the states and union territories for the safety and security of the residents of Jammu and Kashmir would take necessary steps to prevent the acts of violence, discrimination and other coercive acts against Kashmiris. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump on Saturday said that India and Pakistan standoff in the aftermath of the Pulwama attack is a very dangerous situation. Describing the current situation between India and Pakistan as very bad, Donald Trump said that his administration was in contact with both the sides and hoped that hostilities would soon end in Valley. Trump said that it is a very dangerous situation between the two countries. We would like to see it stop. Donald Trump told reporters as he met a Chinese official at the Oval Office that night. Now that there is a lot of problems between India and Pakistan because of what happened. Donald Trump's comments came after the Pulwama terror attack, which left 40 CRPF jawans dead. Pakistan-based terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility for the attack. Meanwhile, succumbing to intense international pressure to rein in the terror groups operating from its soil, the Pakistani government on Friday took over the administrative control of the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. It is noteworthy that terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility for the Pulwama suicide attack that killed 40 CRPF soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the move came a day after the powerful United Nations Security Council named Jaish-e-Mohammed in a statement condemning the strongest terms the heinous and cowardly terror attack executed by Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed in Pulwama. The UNSC also stressed on the need to hold organizers and the financiers of the such acts as accountable and bring them to justice. Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said that the government of Pakistan's Punjab has taken over the control of the JEM headquarters and has appointed an administrator to manage its affairs. A statement issued by the Interior Ministry also said that the crackdown on Jaish has been taken in line with the decision of the National Security Committee meeting that was held on Thursday under the chairmanship of Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. The Islamic seminaries in the campus has a faculty of 70 teachers and currently 600 students were studying in it. Pakistan on Thursday also banned 2008 Mumbai attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed led Jamaat-ud-Dawa and its charity wing Fatah al-Insaniyat Foundation. Earlier, the two outfits were kept on the watch list of the Interior Ministry. The JUD is believed to be the front organization for the LET, which is responsible for carrying out the Mumbai attack as well that killed 166 people. It has been declared as a foreign terrorist organization by the US in June 2014. Meanwhile, JKLF chief Yasin Malik was detained on Friday night amid the indications of a wider crackdown on separatists in Jammu and Kashmir. Police and paramilitary forces have been put on high alert, but there was no confirmation about any more detentions. Now, the action comes days after an audacious terror attack on a convoy in Pulwama district in which 40 CRPF personnel lost their lives. In more news from Jammu and Kashmir, in an encounter in the Baramulla district of the state on Friday, 2 militants were killed. Acting on specific input, the security personnel launched a cordon and search operation in the Warpora village of Sopore in North Kashmir. The search operation turned into an encounter after the militants fired at the search party, who then returned fire. The identity of the militants is yet to be ascertained. Restrictions have also been imposed in the area to maintain law and order. And Home Minister Rajnath Singh has urged the ASEAN nations and the international community to support India's fight against terrorists and their organizations. Now, delivering the valedictory address at the 4th India-ASEAN Expo and Summit in New Delhi, Rajnath Singh said that an environment of peace and security are the prerequisites for trade and commerce to flourish. He added that the summit must acknowledge the fact and ensure that the soil of any country should not be used for propagating terrorism. Condemning the Pulwama attack, the Home Minister said that there exists immense potential to strengthen and deepen cooperation in combating terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, violent extremism and radicalization through information sharing, law enforcement cooperation and capacity building, and anti-money laundering and countering terror financing.
We urge the international community and our friends from ASEAN present in this summit to support our fight against terrorists and terrorist organizations. Friends, an environment of peace and security are prerequisites for trade and commerce to flourish. This summit must acknowledge the fact and ensure that the soil of any country should not be used for propagating terrorism.
Meanwhile, two alleged Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists have been arrested from Deoband in Saharanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. According to the Director General of Police, O.P. Singh, the two were posing as students and were involved in recruiting for the terror group. They have been identified as Shahnawaz Ahmed Teli from Kulgam and Aqib Ahmed Malik from Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir. They were arrested on Thursday night in an operation headed by IG Anti-Terrorist Squad Asim Arun. The ATS recovered pistols from each of them with cartridges, jihadi chats as well as videos and photographs were also recovered from them.
इनके कौन और भी साथी हैं, कौन इनके एसोसिएट्स हैं और क्या क्या इनकी एक्टिविटीज़ रही हैं और कितने लोगों को इन्होंने रिक्रूट किया है जिसके बारे में भी हमें जानकारी नहीं मिली है, लेकिन इस पर भी हम वर्क करेंगे, इसको फर्दर डीपली इन्वेस्टिगेट करेंगे। और सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है इसकी टेरर फंडिंग कौन कर रहा है, सो फंड के बारे में भी हम चाहेंगे कि हमको वो रहे और मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग कि इनका टारगेट क्या हो सकता था। तो इन सब चीज़ों पर फर्दर हम इन्वेस्टिगेशंस करेंगे और यही कारण है कि मैंने पुलिस कस्टडी रिमांड लेकर और इनको हम कोर्ट में प्रोड्यूस करने के बाद हम पुलिस कस्टडी रिमांड लेकर इनसे फर्दर डिटेल्स लेंगे।
All right, let's get you some other news. In less than 150 days since the launch, more than 12 lakh people have received treatment under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Dr. Indu Bhushan, the CEO of the Ayushman Bharat, said on Friday that around 2 crore beneficiary e-cards have been issued under the scheme. At least 15,000 hospitals have so far been empaneled under the scheme, out of which 15% are private hospitals. And he also urged more healthcare establishments to join the movement. Launched in September by the Prime Minister, the scheme has provided secondary and tertiary healthcare benefits worth 600 crore to beneficiaries across the country. The scheme provides 5 lakh rupees per family annually, benefiting more than 10 crore poor families all over the country. Big story coming in from Assam, where in a huge tragedy, at least 34 people, including 7 women, have died after consuming spurious liquor at a tea garden in Golaghat district. 50 more people are undergoing treatment at various hospitals. More than 100 labourers at the Salimira tea garden are believed to have consumed the spurious liquor on Thursday night. 2 people have been arrested in connection with the incident. Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal has ordered an inquiry into the incident. 2 excise officials of the district have also been suspended. Assam Excise Minister has also directed a team of Department of officials to conduct an inquiry into the incident.
ये घटना के ऊपर एडिशनल कमिश्नर एक्साइज के लीडरशिप में 4 मेंबर का एक टीम गठन किया है, हाई लेवल टीम। ये हाई लेवल टीम अभी गुवाहाटी से रवाना हुआ है गोलाघाट, जहां पे ये घटना हुआ है। उसमें इंक्वायरी करके 3 दिन के अंदर में उनका इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट सबमिट करने के लिए मंत्री ने कठोर निर्देश दिया है और उनके साथ साथ वो एरिया का 2 आबकारी ऑफिसर को सस्पेंशन कर दिया गया है।
Meanwhile, the Uttarakhand Assembly on Friday passed a bill to amend the state excise law, making penal provisions for the manufacture, sale and supply of illicit liquor stricter. Now, proposing an amendment to the United Provinces Excise Act, State Excise Minister Prakash Pant said that it was necessary to make stricter laws to rein in those who are engaged in illicit liquor trade. Pant said that if someone dies of consuming illicit liquor, the perpetrators will get 7 to 10 years of imprisonment and will have to pay a fine of 5 to 10 lakh rupees. Remember, over 70 people had died earlier this month in Haridwar district of Uttarakhand and neighbouring Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh after consuming spurious liquor. In Breakfast News, we'll slip into a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
आयुष्मान भव में इस बार बात निसंतान दंपतियों के लिए सबसे बड़ी आस IVF तकनीक की। और हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगी देश की जानी मानी पद्मश्री से सम्मानित डॉक्टर इंदिरा हिंदुजा, जो देंगी IVF से जुड़े आपके हर सवाल का जवाब। तो कॉल कीजिए शनिवार सुबह 11 से 12 बजे और पूछिए अपने सवाल, सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back after the break. Now, seeing the convergence in economic and strategic fronts, India and South Korea have decided to further strengthen their relationship for mutual benefit and balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region. Both the countries have decided to enhance the mutual trade up to $50 billion till 2030 and will also work together for peace in the region. They will also cooperate to fight against terrorism. Akhilesh Suman brings us this report.
On the second day of his state visit to South Korea, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a summit meeting with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. 6 agreements and MOUs were signed after the meeting that lasted 2 hours at the President's residence. The agreements were in the fields of cultural cooperation, highway construction, cooperation against transnational crime and terrorism, mass communication, startups, trade, energy, space, among others. India will also release a stamp to honor the Queen from Ayodhya who went to Korea.
हमारे द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को बढ़ाकर $50 बिलियन तक ले जाने के लक्ष्य के प्रति अपना कमिटमेंट दोहराया है। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, पोर्ट डेवलपमेंट, मरीन और फूड प्रोसेसिंग, स्टार्टअप्स और स्मॉल एंड मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस जैसे सेक्टर्स में हम अपना सहयोग बढ़ाने पर सहमत हैं। हमारी बढ़ती सामरिक साझेदारी में रक्षा क्षेत्र की अहम भूमिका है। इसका एक उदाहरण भारतीय थल सेना में K9 वज्र आर्टिलरी गन के शामिल होने में देखा जा सकता है। रक्षा उत्पादन में इस उल्लेखनीय सहयोग को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमने डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजी और को प्रोडक्शन पर एक रोड मैप बनाने के लिए भी सहमति की है। हम आतंकवाद के खिलाफ अपने द्विपक्षीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सहयोग और समन्वय को और अधिक मजबूत करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। आज भारत के गृह मंत्रालय और कोरिया की राष्ट्रीय पुलिस एजेंसी के बीच संपन्न हुआ MOU हमारे काउंटर टेररिज्म सहयोग को और आगे बढ़ाएगा।
South Korea has relaxed group tourism visa regulations for Indians. Both nations will also frame a roadmap of joint production of defense equipment in India in defense corridors in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Modi said Korea is best suited to be a model of India's development.
ईस्ट पॉलिसी और कोरिया की न्यू सदर्न पॉलिसी का तालमेल हमारी स्पेशल स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को और अधिक गहराई और मजबूती देने का सुदृढ़ प्लेटफॉर्म दे रहा है। इंडो पैसिफिक के संबंध में भारत का विजन समावेशिता, आसियान की केंद्रीयता और साझी समृद्धि पर विशेष जोर देता है।
Receiving the Seoul Peace Prize, Prime Minister Modi said it was in recognition of India's efforts towards inclusive growth and creation of balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region.
This award is a recognition of the philosophy that has given the message of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which means the entire world is one family. The award is for the culture that has given the message of peace even on the battlefield, as Lord Krishna gave the teachings of Bhagavad Gita during the battle in the Mahabharata. I am honored that this award is being conferred on me in the year that we celebrate the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. I would like to contribute the monetary award of $200,000, that 1 crore 30 lakh rupees, to the Namami Gange Fund.
This was Prime Minister Modi's second visit to South Korea since May 2015. Both India and South Korea have resolved to consolidate bilateral relations for mutual benefit. Both countries will also work towards lasting peace in the Korean Peninsula and facilitate talks between both South and North Korea, including the United States.
South Korea is bubbling with technology, expertise and knowledge relevant to almost all sectors to India, and those too at cheaper cost and sometimes at almost no cost. But we have to create collaboration, and government has to divide how to create collaboration so that it can be sustainable. Indeed, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's second visit to Korea has given impetus to it, and we have to continue it in future. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Suresh in Seoul.
And South Korea also strongly condemned the Pulwama terror attack and promised support to India in its fight against terror. MA Secretary Vijay Thakur Singh said this after talks between PM Modi and South Korean President Moon Jae-in.
President Moon Jae-in strongly condemned the Pulwama attack as a terrorist attack, and he had earlier written a letter to the Prime Minister expressing his support and solidarity on the fight against terrorism. There was also discussion that, and in this context, you would have noticed that one of the agreements that we have concluded with Korea is a MOU on it's on transnational crime and terrorism. So that is one step which has been taken, and that MOU has been signed today. So there is movement and there is the solidarity expressed with India on the fight against terrorism.
On to some other news. President Ramnath Kovind attended the 18th anniversary celebrations of the Swarna Bharat Trust, which was founded by Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu in 2001. The President hailed the trust for its social work in the fields of education, healthcare, skill development and farmers' welfare. He also visited the ancestral home of Vice President Naidu. Rajkamal Rao gets us this report.
President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu attended the 18th anniversary celebrations of Swarna Bharat Trust in Nellore on Friday. In his address, President Kovind said that the Swarna Bharat Trust drew inspiration from Mahatma Gandhi's Back to the Villages slogan.
Gandhiji had spoken of the need to develop villages with amenities appropriate for a dignified and simple but prosperous life. In this regard, and in our endeavor to enhance the quality and dignity of life and work for those of our people who reside in villages and toil on farms, technology can be a great enabler.
Lauding the social work being done by the Swarna Bharat Trust, founded by Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, President Kovind said it is the responsibility of every person to give back to the society. He praised Swarna Bharat Trust's emphasis on the use of science and technology and innovation in helping rural communities.
Wherever you are, please always have a mindset to give back to the society in whatever manner and whatever way you can afford to give to the underprivileged students, underprivileged people, poor people, those who are in need. I am glad to learn that the Swarna Bharat Trust too emphasizes the use of science and technology and of innovation in helping rural communities. I am confident that with the blessings of our Vice President, this noble work will continue.
Vice President Naidu said that the Swarna Bharat Trust is working in the fields of education, culture, health, skill development and agriculture. He said the primary focus of the trust is women empowerment.
Another area of trust has been imparting vocational training in upgradation of their skill, educating the farmers on new farming techniques and cultivating alternative crops and training the artisans to be self-employed are part of the wide range of activities the trust is undertaking. शिक्षा और संस्कृति देके बाद में कलेक्टर के द्वारा गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा उनको नियर बाई गवर्नमेंट हॉस्टल में भर्ती करवाना ये भी एक काम है, इसको कहते हैं ब्रिज स्कूल.
Addressing the gathering, the Vice President said that skill development is another major area of focus. He also said that the Trust runs bridge schools to educate poor children or school dropouts.
Guided by Mahatma Gandhi's dictum of back to villages and his profound view that Rama Raj is incomplete without Grama Raj, the Trust has been working relentlessly to empower and uplift the downtrodden sections by imparting education and upgrading their skills. The number one objective is to empower the woman and also by giving them livelihood skills. That is a major focus of this trust.
Ahead of the event, President Kovind visited Venkatachalam village, the native place of Venkaiah Naidu. After spending some time at the Vice President's ancestral home, he visited Akshara School, run by the Trust, and also interacted with the students. Established by M. Venkaiah Naidu in 2001, the Trust now has chapters in Vijayawada, Amravati and Hyderabad. It works mostly in the area of rural development with thrust on healthcare, farmers' welfare, women empowerment and skill development among the youth. With inputs from Rajkamal Rao from Nellore, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And women power will be the highlight today of Aero India 2019 show in Bengaluru. Now highlighting the achievements of women in aviation, Women's Day will be celebrated at the Yelahanka base of the Indian Air Force. And the Women's Day will showcase women's achievements in the aerospace sector. And all women crew will fly Dornier and Aero aircraft and participate in panel discussions at the venue. Built by the state-run aerospace major HAL, Dornier and Aero are multi-purpose twin turboprop aircraft used for ferrying passengers and cargo in military and civil operations. 3 women Indian Air Force fighter pilots will also fly a Hawk 1 advanced jet trainer of BAE systems and also an upgraded version of the Russian-made MiG-21. Women from the aerospace sector will sit together to discuss cyber security in aerospace. The lady officers would share also their journeys and experiences. Also, women achievers in the sector will be felicitated, and a book and a film on women in aviation will also be released. 61 aircrafts are on display and 403 exhibitors are participating in the Aero India show this year. The 5-day biennial air show will continue till 24th of February. And sports news now. The first International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup of 2019 for rifle and pistol will kickstart from today in New Delhi at the Dr. Karni Singh shooting range. The opening ceremony of the event was held on Thursday. 500 shooters from 60 nations are participating in the event, with 14 Olympic quotas up for grabs. A total of 35 shooters from India are participating, of which 23 will be playing for a medal or Olympic quota, while the remaining 12 will be shooting only for minimum qualification score. Of the 14 Tokyo 2020 berths on offer, India will be vying for 12 as rifle shooters. Anjum Modgil and Apurvi Chandela have already bagged 2 quota places for the country. From the pistol shooting event, Rahi Sarnobat, the first Indian woman to win an Asian Games gold, will be India's best hope in the women's 25 meters pistol. And former world number 1 Hina Sindhu and Youth Olympics and World Cup gold medalist Manu Bhakar will be India's ace shooters, while Asian Games gold medalists Saurabh Chaudhary and Abhishek Verma will lead the contingent in the men's shooting. The contingent of rifle shooters will be led by Tejaswini Sawant, the first woman from India to clinch a gold medal at the World Championship. And that is the wrap on this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.